Hello and happy Halloween. This is Heather from Popular Crime. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, welcome. Last Halloween, Joe and I did a video on creepy places, and this Halloween, I thought it would be fun to count down 5 places in America that are notorious for being haunted. If you missed last year's video, I will link it down below. Let's get into today's haunted places. Nestled in Silicon Valley is a massive Queen Anne-style Victorian mansion that was allegedly built to appease spirits. After her husband's death from tuberculosis in 1881, Sarah Winchester inherited a fortune from her husband's business, Winchester Repeating Arms Company. When her husband passed away, they had been living in New Haven, Connecticut. After losing both her husband and their infant daughter to marasmus, she visited a medium in Boston, and during this visit, the medium supposedly channeled her late husband, who told her that his death and the death of their daughter were a result of the blood money that the family had made from Winchester rifles. Sarah was told that she should leave her home in New Haven and travel west. There, she should build a home for herself and for all the spirits of people who had been killed by Winchester rifles. She was told that she would continue to live as long as she continued to build the mansion. Now, whether or not Sarah made the move because of the medium, people close to her said that she really did come to believe that her family and fortune were haunted by ghosts. Shortly after seeing the medium, Sarah moved out west and settled in San Jose. She began construction on her mansion, which would continue nonstop for 38 years. Construction finally stopped on September 5th, 1922, when Sarah died in her sleep. Now, there wasn't a master plan for this home, and it is filled with architectural oddities. In this home, you'll find secret passageways, trapdoors, spiderweb windows, upside-down columns, staircases leading to nowhere. There are doors that open to blank walls, sealed-off rooms that were built to confuse the spirits, and a door on the second floor that opens out to nothing. This house has 950 doors, 10,000 windows, 40 stairways, 52 skylights, 47 fireplaces, 6 kitchens, and 3 elevators. Sarah was also said to be obsessed with the number 13, so there are many 13-paned windows, 13-paneled ceilings, as well as 13-step stairways throughout the house. Now, after Sarah's death, the home was converted into a tourist attraction and is now a national landmark. Anyone can tour this home, and many paranormal investigators and ghost hunters have become captivated by this location. Visitors claim they've heard footsteps in Sarah's bedroom, seen doorknobs turn themselves, been overcome with icy chills, and have even temporarily lost their vision. Many people have claimed to have seen Clyde, a man with a mustache who sometimes is seen pushing a wheelbarrow in the basement or trying to repair the fireplace in the ballroom. And fun fact about this home, it was Walt Disney's inspiration for the haunted mansions inside Disney. Under the city of Portland, Oregon, is a system of tunnels known as the Old Portland Underground, or known locally as the Shanghai Tunnels. These passageways connected the basements of many of the hotels and taverns to the waterfront of the Willamette River. Originally built to move goods from the ship docked on the river to the basement storage areas, they allowed businesses to avoid street and train traffic when delivering their goods. From 1850 until 1941, during the day, these tunnels were used as intended to deliver goods to businesses. But at night, the tunnels became a hot spot for drug dealing, prostitution, gambling, illegal booze, and human trafficking. In the early 1850s, the gold rush was in full swing, and because of that, the shipping business began to suffer. The cheap labor they had come to rely on just wasn't available. They didn't want to pay sailors more money, so some captains would pay men who were called crimps to look for new men in town, befriend them, buy them a drink at one of the local taverns, and drug them. Once the unsuspecting men were unconscious, with the help of the bartender, the crimps would send the men down a trap door into the tunnels. This is where the term crimping or shanghaiing comes from. The crimps would be paid a bounty for each new man. The crimps would then imprison their victims in wooden cages where they wouldn't get any food or water. These would basically be holding cells, and after several days in a cage and left in the dark tunnels, the victims would be given drinks laced with drugs. Then they would be transported onto ships after they had been sold as slave labor to the captains. Days later, they would wake up chained in the bottom of the ship, miles away from shore. The crimps did the same thing with new, unsuspecting young women. However, these women would be sold to brothels, and sometimes these women would be transported to other port cities or overseas. Now, sadly, business owners, police, and politicians turned a blind eye to all that was happening. It wasn't until 1941, when human trafficking became less profitable there, that the practice stopped entirely. It is no surprise that after all those decades of darkness and evilness, that this tunnel system is very haunted. During guided tours, visitors have said that they've heard screams and groans and have felt this eerie sensation that someone was standing right behind them. Dubbed the most haunted hotel and ship, the RMS Queen Mary is a 1,000-foot ship that is faster and more powerful than the Titanic was. This ocean liner has a rich history. The Queen Mary's maiden voyage was on May 27, 1936. For about 3 years, it hosted the world's rich and famous while crossing the Atlantic. It actually held the record for the fastest ever North Atlantic crossing. And this boat had a feeling of old world glamour, and as you can see, it looks very similar to the Titanic. In 1939, when World War II started, luxury travel came to a complete halt and the ship was transformed into a troop ship that would become known as the Grey Ghost. Originally, the Queen Mary could hold just under 2,500 people, but during the war, the capacity on the ship more than doubled. By the time the war was over, the ship had carried more than 800,000 troops, traveled more than 600,000 miles, and played a significant role in virtually every major Allied campaign. She had also survived a collision at sea when she accidentally rammed into and split an Allied ship in its path, the HMS Curaçao, off the Irish coast, killing 239 people. The Queen Mary also participated in the D-Day invasion. In 1967, the Queen Mary was officially withdrawn from service after more than 1,000 transatlantic crossings. It was then sold to the city of Long Beach, California for its use as a maritime museum and hotel. After 1,001 successful Atlantic crossings, she was permanently docked and soon became the luxury hotel that she is today. Now, it is said that as many as 150 known spirits are lurking upon this ship. Countless reports have been made of water running and lights turning on by themselves in the middle of the night, and phones ringing in the early morning hours with no one on the other end of the line. A baby's cry has often been heard, which is thought to be of an infant boy who died shortly after his birth. Sounds of distinct knocks, doors slamming, high-pitched squeals, drastic temperature changes, and strange, musty smells have also been reported. In addition, over the last 60 years, the Queen Mary has been the site of at least 49 reported deaths. Many people have stayed on the Queen Mary in hopes to see something paranormal. There are many hotspots of paranormal activity on the ship, including the most haunted guest room, Stateroom B340. The ship offers many ghost tours and investigations, as well as recreations of Victorian seances. Have you ever wondered where the name Jersey Devil came from? Well, it turns out tales about a mysterious beast called the Jersey Devil have haunted locals for over 2 centuries. It is believed that this creature roamed the pinelands known as the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. Now, the Pine Barrens encompasses over 1.1 million acres of preserved woodland spanning 7 counties in South Jersey. This was America's first natural reserve. It is a heavily forested area covered in sandy, acidic, nutrient-poor soil that is well suited for cranberries, orchids, and carnivorous plants. This region has 4 state forests, is sparsely populated, and there are abandoned villages and ghost towns throughout this location. Ruins of former mill and mining settlements can also be found in this rural area. Now, the Pine Barrens were originally inhabited by the indigenous people of the Lenni Lenape tribe. European settlements began springing up by 1694. The iron industry brought jobs and wealth to the Pine Barrens, with New Jersey producing much of the iron used in the American Revolution and the War of 1812. Once coal was discovered in Pennsylvania, many residents headed west. Communities were abandoned overnight, leaving behind more ghost towns than almost any other state in the U.S. Today, residents are proud of their history and culture and embrace the idea of the Jersey Devil. Here in Stafford Township at Lucille's Country Cooking on Main Street, they proudly display a statue of this creature. But what is it? According to legend, the Jersey Devil is described as a kangaroo-like creature with the face of a horse, the head of a dog, bat-like leathery wings, horns, and a tail. For over 200 years, it is said to lurk through the marshes of southern New Jersey and emerge occasionally to rampage through the towns and cities. But where did this thing come from? Well, it is a widely held belief that in 1735, one of the region's residents, Jane Leeds, was very upset when she discovered that she was pregnant for the 13th time. In disgust, she cried out, "Let it be the devil." And legend says that when the child arrived, it was indeed a baby devil. The creature then gave a screech, unfolded its wings, and flew out the window and into the swamp. And as crazy as it sounds, reliable witnesses like police, government officials, businessmen have claimed to actually have seen it. The Jersey Devil is said to have raided chicken coops and farms, destroyed crops, killed animals, and terrorized residents. Hoofprints from the devil have been found on trees, roofs, and in the middle of the road. Residents have even offered a $250,000 reward for capture of the devil. The biggest outbreak of the beast was in 1909, when over 1,000 people in the South Jersey area saw it. But recent sightings have also been documented. According to NJ.com, in 1993, Forest Ranger John Irwin was driving along the Mullica River when he saw a strange creature blocking the road ahead of him. He said it was about 6 feet tall with horns and matted black fur. The two stared at each other for several minutes before the creature turned and ran into the forest. In October of 2015, Little Egg Harbor resident David Black said he was driving along Route 9 near a golf course when he saw what he thought was a llama walking in and out of the tree line on the side of the road. Suddenly, the creature spread its wings and flew away. He captured the beast's image with his cell phone, and the photo went viral. A few days later, after David Black supposedly captured the Jersey Devil with his cell phone's camera, Emily Martin shot a video of what appears to be the same creature after she spotted it on Old Port Republic Road near Leeds Point. Both Black and Martin swear neither the image nor the video were edited or set up. Let's take a look. Okay, so the video and picture are totally laughable. But who knows, maybe there is something to this legend. And fun fact, there was an X-Files episode based on the Jersey Devil in season 1. In the rolling hills of Weston, West Virginia, sits a large Gothic building that is a true house of horrors. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was built with good intentions and operated from 1864 to 1994. When the asylum was commissioned in the early 1850s, the idea behind it was more of a holistic, humane way of treating mental illness. The facility was inspired by Thomas Story Kirkbride, a doctor and crusader for the mentally ill, who founded what would eventually become the American Psychiatric Association. Now, Kirkbride's emphasis was on lots of light in the facility, fresh air, and freedom for the patients, so they were given more control over their lives at the facility. His ideas inspired the construction of 73 Kirkbride hospitals that valued humane treatment of their patients. And the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum started out with those values when it opened its doors. Now, the facility was originally designed for 250 patients, where they would each have their own comfortable room. The asylum was situated on hundreds of acres of land and was self-sufficient. They had a working farm, dairy, waterworks, gas well, and cemetery right on the property. It was designed to make patients feel at home, well cared for, and ultimately restored. One thing we have to remember, though, is that the asylum opened its doors in 1864, and back then, people who weren't mentally ill could be committed to a mental hospital. Many times people would be committed for ridiculous reasons like laziness, religious enthusiasm, menopause, superstition, and troubles at home. 18 years later, more people were being diagnosed with mental health issues, and it was even more stigmatized. The asylum ended up admitting an additional 500 patients when it was only built to accommodate 250, and conditions began to decline fast, and all the facility's self-sufficient systems, like their farm and dairy, couldn't provide for all these patients. There were also major sanitation issues, and still, over the years, more and more people were committed. By the 1950s, there were over 2,600 patients residing at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum when it was originally built for 250 people. The facility itself was not maintained, so the walls were peeling from decay and the windows were covered with grime. If orderlies felt like a patient couldn't be controlled, then they would lock them in cages and open spaces. Horrible practices like ice water baths, seclusion cells, and electroshock therapy were implemented. Medication was regularly given to people who didn't need it to keep them in a catonic state so they could be controlled. Now, this asylum had also become a training ground for experimental lobotomies, and many times patients at this facility who were not even mentally ill were given lobotomies, leaving them with lasting physical and cognitive damage. Staff were attacked by patients regularly, and patients killed each other. It was horrible. And what was really appalling is that this went on for decades and nobody did anything. It wasn't until the Charleston Gazette began their own investigation and exposed what the conditions were really like in the 1980s, and that got people's attention. According to Legends of America, in 1985, the Charleston Gazette once again exposed the asylum, reporting that court-appointed inspectors found the asylum to be dirty and unkempt, with many patients left naked and confined to dirty wards with bathrooms smeared with feces. 7 years later, in 1992, even more bad news rocked the asylum when the Charleston Gazette again decried that horrendous conditions were inside the asylum. That same year, a patient named George Edward Bodie died after a fight with another patient. Another patient, Brian Scott B., committed suicide, and his badly decomposing body was not found for 8 days. The hospital was forcibly closed in 1994 due to changes in treatments of patients and the physical deterioration of the facility. Now, even when the hospital was open, workers there said it was haunted. Some people left their jobs because they were just too scared to stay. Through the years, there was so much neglect, torture, darkness, and despair in this place, it would be hard to imagine that it isn't haunted. Over 2,000 patients died at this facility and are buried in the cemetery on the grounds. Who knows how many years they were tortured and abused before dying there. The property was purchased in 2007 and is now open to the public, offering paranormal tours and ghost hunts. But that is going to do it for today's video. What haunted places did I leave off this list? Let me know in the comments down below. Have a very happy Halloween, and as always, stay safe, keep investigating, and we'll see you soon.